In recent days, we've seen several new Taehyung moments that haven't gone unnoticed. One of the most talked about moments arose from a post made on Hobi's account, showing Taehyung, Jungkook, and Hobi himself seemingly enjoying a shopping trip. In the image, the three appear to be at a store or mall, which would confirm the rumors that had previously circulated that Taehyung and Jungkook were together in Los Angeles. These rumors began when a girl claimed to have seen the two and promised to post a video on Jungkook's birthday. However, in the end, that video was never necessary. The reason is simple: Taehyung doesn't need confirmation from others. Over time, they have been the ones who, without realizing it, leave clear signs of their closeness and their love. For years, they have shared moments that speak for themselves. It's not just about public appearances or official posts. Even in private or spontaneous moments, the bond between them is evident. The photo shared from Hobi's account is a good example of this. Another recent moment that has generated a lot of buzz occurred when Jungkook was seen taking pictures of Taehyung. This scene not only caught attention for its visual appearance, but for what it represented to many. If you look closely, you can see that Taehyung was pouting, a tender and playful expression that isn't unusual between them. In fact, it's something they've done on many other occasions, playing, laughing, and creating spontaneous moments while taking photos of each other. Jungkook has always shown attention to detail when it comes to Taehyung, and vice versa. And that translates into scenes like this, where there's no need to pose for a camera or act a certain way, they're simply being themselves. Despite the naturalness of the moment, some people began to question it. Comments arose saying that there were actually many staff members around when Jungkook took those photos. However, upon reviewing the image, no one else is seen in the frame. It's just Jungkook and Taehyung, which suggests it was something more intimate and personal. This isn't the first time theories have emerged to try to disprove or downplay what Taehyung and Jungkook share. But the truth is that for a long time, they've shown that their closeness doesn't depend on public events or what others think. What we see between them is real, with or without cameras, with or without witnesses. It's worth noting that these moments don't feel forced. It's not about proving something. Rather, they're part of a connection that's already evident to those who followed their story from the beginning. There's always been a kind of silent language between them, a way of communicating with glances, gestures, or small details that don't go unnoticed. There have been a lot of comments on social media lately about whether the hat Jungkook was wearing was the same one Taehyung had recently worn. To be clear from the start, no, it wasn't the same hat. Still, a few opinions arose regarding the matter. Some people started saying that Jungkook avoided wearing things that Taehyung had worn, and with that, they started making up baseless theories. They said that this meant Jungkook didn't want anything to do with him. But if you look at the facts closely, it's clear that this doesn't make sense. Taehyung and Jungkook have always been shown to have a close relationship. They've shared many things with each other, both in public and in more casual moments. For example, there was a pretty clear moment where Jungkook was taking a photo of Taehyung, and in doing so, he was using Taehyung's phone, not his own. Another important moment happened during one of their last streams. They were broadcasting together, and it was Taehyung who logged out of Jungkook's account. These kinds of situations demonstrate that there is a constant trust between them. There's no need to ask permission or act formally when there's a relationship where everything is shared naturally. It's also common to see them wearing each other's clothes or accessories. They don't do it out of obligation or to prove something, but because it's part of their daily relationship. If Jungkook wasn't wearing Taehyung's hat on this occasion, that doesn't change anything. There's no reason to think anything has changed just because of that detail. People tend to jump to quick conclusions without looking at the bigger picture. There are those who insist that Taehyung and Jungkook should always be shown together, holding hands or sharing everything to prove they're a couple. But Taehyung has never acted to please the public's expectations. They don't need to prove anything. What they share, they do when they want and how they want, without following a script or acting for anyone. Furthermore, there are many ways they've demonstrated their closeness without having to do it in an exaggerated way. Their relationship has always been based on sharing real moments, not just what's shown on camera. It's important to understand that not all displays of affection or connection have to be visible or public to be real. Often, the comments that arise on social media come from people who only want to create theories or clashes between those who support different ideas, such as those who constantly mention Taekook, jungkook, or even their favorite. But if you look at their actions more than their words, you can see that Taehyung and Jungkook have a unique connection that has endured over time. The fact that Jungkook didn't wear that specific hat doesn't have a hidden meaning. Over the years, they've shared many things that are more important than an accessory. From small gestures to key moments, they've shown that their relationship comes naturally, without needing to act for anyone. And that's what keeps their relationship strong and authentic, no matter what others say or want to see. Over time, the way Taehyung and Jungkook relate to each other has changed quite a bit. Before, it was common to see them together on very specific occasions. Now, they share much more, and it shows without having to look for it too much. There's a constant closeness between them that's no longer surprising because it's become part of their daily lives. There's no doubt that there's a trust between the two that has grown stronger. They have no problem showing how they treat each other or revealing the type of connection they've built. They do it naturally, without worrying about how it will be received or if anyone approves. What's important to them seems to be what happens between them, regardless of who's watching. Many of Taehyung's fans expect them to behave in a certain way to confirm that they're together. Some would like to see them side by side all the time, sharing every second. But that hasn't been their thing. They've never been guided by what others want to see, nor do they seek to conform to what's expected. They prefer to do things their way, choosing when and how to share what they're experiencing. There are many signs they've shown over time that make their connection clear. It doesn't take grand gestures to make it noticeable. Sometimes, a glance, a silent laugh, or a way of touching a shoulder that conveys calm is all it takes. These are simple details that speak volumes, especially when you pay attention to what's happening in the quieter moments. There's a way of communicating between them that doesn't require many words. When they're together, everything seems to flow with a tranquility you don't see with others. They look out for each other without it seeming like something they're planning. Whether in a rehearsal room, before going on stage, or during a break between activities, there's always a way they support each other. That constant attention speaks to a connection that runs deep. There are pre-performance recordings where this can be clearly seen. While the whole team is getting ready, Taehyung approaches Jungkook to calmly say something or simply to make eye contact and convey confidence. And Jungkook does so too. Sometimes with gentle words, other times just with his firm presence. In those moments, everything seems to stop, so that only what they're sharing exists. The most interesting thing is that this type of interaction doesn't happen with other members of the group. Although there's camaraderie and many strong friendships, what you see between Taehyung and Jungkook is different. There's something about the way they look at each other, their careful touch, their companionship even in silence, that's not repeated with anyone else. In interviews, rehearsals, or casual encounters, they often have small reactions that, for those who observe them closely, make a difference. A phrase that only the other understands, a shared laugh for no apparent reason, or an exchange of glances in the midst of the noise. These moments aren't striking to everyone, but those who know their story value them because they're real and constant. The connection between them has emerged little by little, without needing to explain it. They've never tried to prove anything, nor have they said more than necessary. And yet, those who follow them closely know that what exists between them is something special. They don't need to confirm it. Over the years, they've shared many spaces, both in public and in more relaxed situations. Whenever they're together, there's a kind of comfort that's immediately evident. It's not just about spending time together, but how that time seems to have more meaning when the other is around. What they share doesn't need grand displays or special moments. It's in the small things, in the spaces where they can be themselves. That's what makes their relationship feel most authentic. They don't seek to show off, they just share what they truly feel. In the end, Taekook continues to build their story at their own pace. Without pressure, without responding to what others expect, but always leaving traces that those who know them know how to read. And that, more than any words, says it all.